Hello and welcome to Raising Excellence. We have another excellent podcast prepared for you today, and this one is going to be all about looking back at the previous year. What have we accomplished? What have we cherished? What have we reveled in? What brought us the greatest lessons or the hardest lessons? But what are the gifts that those lessons bring us? And with me today, we have Deirdre, and we have Dennis, and Michael, and Tim, and Samantha sends her regrets. Willow sends her regrets. So, how was your year in review? Did everybody do the exercise we prepared for today?
Vaguely, yes.
Vaguely.
Yes.
And so, what were the lessons that you learned from it?
Well, I took heart in the detail that you provided by month. So I try to do it on a monthly basis to see what stood out for me during the months. And uh, I would say it was, uh, I think I had like 10 very positive experiences and a couple negative experiences thrown in there that I learned some things from. And really, the year was dominated by work on autonomy and new relationships, getting to know new people, working in my area of study, doing presentations for the BS detector, and really kind of expanding, moving forward to the next hurdle, and then understanding and having faith that I could overcome that no matter what it was. And I think what I'm going to try to focus on this year is moving faster, like breaking down the barriers faster, uh, and limiting the resistance and trying to understand where I feel that resistance and then pressing into it faster to try to get that knowledge and that experience, whether that be positive or negative, to get the feedback so that I can make the adjustments and move forward at a faster clip. So, so yeah, that was kind of my year in review. I mean, there's a lot of detail in there, but um,
So, what was your
it was a
biggest
good
gift
year.
from looking back at it? What was the one thing that you didn't really remember or think about, and then it came up in the exercise?
Um, I think it was just recognizing the things, the practices that I had put in place and the value of those things, and remembering how much value I got out of those things and how I could put that into practice going forward. So, reconsidering, recovering some of the things that I've been too busy during the holidays to practice, and understanding how those things benefited me over that period of time and the level and amount of growth that I experienced in the past year was something that I probably hadn't experienced in any previous year in my long and healthful life. But So I'm looking forward to moving forward with all of you.
And what role did autonomy have to do with that accelerated growth this year?
Well, I think autonomy and the support of the people in autonomy was critical and crucial, not only for providing that fear-free environment to test out my experiments and to be open and vulnerable and to feel safe in that with the group and the crew and to build relationships and to learn that I can learn by talking because I have uh, introversion disease or whatever it is, and I've been able to like break free from a lot of that just by expressing myself with people that I trust. And then really some of the nicest things that happened were going to meet people in person and being able to meet them face to face was a fantastic experience. And going to Red Pill was, um, I think, the conference could have just not been there, and that would have been fine as long as the people were there. And the most fun was meeting the people, making the personal connections, and then hanging out in Richard's backyard and talking to the wee hours of the morning,
Yeah,
and
it's like
then being able
Discord
to
in
do that.
real life.
Yeah, Discord in real life, and
So we have a listener who just tuned in, and he said that changing his diet had a huge positive impact on his personal or her personal development. The name is Active Avi. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Um, and this person also says that they have an introversion gene and definitely would like to break out of their
so
gene.
I mean, I'd really have to agree that the diet, the sleep patterns, the meditation, the self care, and you just don't understand how critical a difference that can make in your life.
It's Tony.
It's Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Fantastic. Um,
Yeah,
just
the what Dennis was recommending, the high doses of vitamin D. I've been trying that, and it's amazing. It's really been making a big difference, even in the rainy climate. So, thanks,
yeah,
Dennis.
I've had a lot of success with that, and then I'm using a lot of MSM and chlorophyll as well, which I find um, very helpful. And I haven't been sick this year, which is really nice. And I've followed some of Dr. Tent's protocols. I really like Dr. Tent, of course,
Hmm.
and I've had good success. So what I'm trying to do is somewhat not over optimize, but raise the level of energy that I'm able to put out so that I can do the things that I want to do, because I go to my job every day and that takes up the majority of my life. But then I can, if I'm healthy and have energy, I can squeeze out a whole other day and not be too neglectful of my family. So I can spend time with them. I can get up early in the morning. I can do a workout at lunch, and then I can spend time working on autonomy and my other interests uh, in the evening and still be on a halfway decent schedule
You know,
energy
this is
wise.
still very impressive what you're talking about. You're fitting in working out and studying, and I know you're also taking a master's. So it's just not just studying for autonomy, but studying for masters, and then making the presentations and all of that, and taking care of your family. That's huge, man. It's awesome.
Well, well, thanks. I mean, it's really what Richard talks about. You know, when you get busy and you're busy producing, and then you're doing the things that you want to do, it's not like work. It's almost effortless, and you want to have enough energy to put that energy back into the world and try to create value. And just looking for a little more balance and energy is good. And hopefully this year, uh, I can have that a little more balance with it.
What about the rest of the group? What have you guys discovered from the exercise? Come on,
All
don't
right,
all
Dennis is
start at
ready. Come
once.
on, Dennis.
Sure, sure, no problem. I was gonna say ladies first, but then decided. Before I go ahead, I've been taking MSM also regularly for quite a while now, and I had great success with it too. And what pushed it up a notch for me even further was when I combined the MSM with vitamin C. I'm not sure if you tried that before, but that really, in terms of energy, like that was really amazing. And yeah, but I guess that's a theme for another one. But that's just something I remembered when you were
No,
talking
that's good tips.
about.
Good. We love your tips, Dennis.
And yeah, well, like also like, wow, that's amazing thing what you can put out. Like I'd love to reach there one day. Like
Dennis.
I'm like family wise, yeah, like it's quite a handful. Like my children are a little bit younger, so they probably have their demands are like a little different still than once they grow older, I'm sure. But still, like that's a huge thing, to be able to manage work and family, and still study and still deal with autonomy. It's easy to get overwhelmed, positively overwhelmed with all the channels and all the rabbit holes that autonomy opened up for me. So I had to really pull myself together at some point and put the skills that I learned through autonomy as well together, so to say, to organize myself and to properly schedule things, for me not to get lost in all those, exciting new friendships and topics of study and new fields that autonomy alone opened up for me. So that was a huge thing for me this year as well. That was one of the largest impacts I think this year I've had, like through autonomy, and all the like I said, the friendships, the connections, the possibilities, also overcoming my hesitation of heavily engaging with what you call it, new technology, with like social media. I've been very hesitant even like to use a cell phone or to have a smartphone at all, and I'm not really very tech savvy, so to say. So autonomy kind of enabled me to step more deeper into that field, and to to maybe overcome some hesitation I had with it, and to make good use of it, and that has been like a huge step forward for me this year. And then besides that, of course, right at the beginning of the year, it was end of last year, beginning of this year, it was the whole move back of my family to Germany, which took me like probably half of the year to realize that it actually was a move back and not just like a short way or like a short visit to Germany. So that was a huge like how would you say, revelation to me, or like a entire process actually of after 15 years coming back to Germany and coming to terms with with living here again after so long. And in many ways it was like a reverse culture shock, because it was like a whole different thing living in Jamaica and now coming back. It was the whole thing just reverse. So I had to come to terms with how things run here, how people are. A lot of things changed here as well. And on the other side, it was also comforting in a way. The amenities of first world living, this comfort in some ways, but in other ways it's also frightening. And then so that was like a huge thing for me as well. Then of course, watching the children grow. Like I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and just 2-year-old, almost 3. So it's just amazing to be around them. So I tremendously enjoy that, and I enjoy the opportunity that I have had these months of while working a little bit, but working from home, but being around them almost the whole day, and taking care of them, watching them grow, and kind of discover the world a little bit through their eyes, and also being reminded of my own childhood, reliving parts of my own childhood, experiencing them growing up, and them experiencing the world through their eyes. So that was nice. And then also a huge thing for me was because I was very weary about coming to Germany. You have to put your children to school here, and Emma, my older daughter, is had to go to school. So we got letters from the government, and I've been very heavily engaged in studying for the last couple of years, alternatives to the government school system. So I was into homeschooling, into even researching unschooling and other things. And so that was a huge topic for me. And then, I started to, for the first couple of months of the year, I started to look into alternatives of the government schools here. So we checked out Montessori, Waldorf, Steiner schools, and, the few options that we have here, that are given here in Germany. So that took up some of my time, and that gave me some hands-on, not just like book knowledge, understanding of those education alternatives or systems, but also like hands-on experience. And I looked people in the eyes, and I saw how they do it and what's going on, and so that was very interesting. That was like a huge learning experience for me as well. And this year was really amazing, because overall I would say it was like a shift in many ways. And I kind of had to learn, and I learned more of trusting and of being in the flow of life. And I made this conscious decision of like not resisting anything, but really keenly looking not only ahead, but looking also left and right to see where the doors would be open, for us, or for me to go through. And instead of relentlessly running against doors that are hard to open, or that are maybe even closed, which I guess I got good at, and I've been like good at doing that. But also I realized that sometimes doors are closed for a reason. So maybe they're closed because they're not supposed to be opened right now, or maybe there's another door beside, and you're just supposed to learn to look left and right, to find a way where things flow easier at the moment. So that's like a journey I've been on this year. Yeah, it was really just what I got out of it was a whole lot of cooperation, learning also to kind of let go and accept input from other people, and also to be able to delegate tasks to other people that might do it even better, and to trust in other people as well, and continue to co-create, as I feel it's not really me who is doing anything that I'm doing, but it's really all those that came before me, my family, my teachers, people that influenced me, that brought me to who I am right now, and that contribute to the abilities and skills and experience that I have right now. So I really keenly look, even more so than before, who I associate with and whom I spend my time with, in order to not only be more productive, but also to be, fulfilled, and to really find my place in life, and find uh, where I can do what I love to do, and what I can do best, and what I would like to achieve with people, that support me, and that I can support on my journey as well. And yeah, so there's quite a few books and people that came into my life this year that really supported me. And yeah, some of the key teachings also was like to cherish every moment, and to especially take care and cherish every moment you have with those that you love, because nothing is granted to us in this life, so you never know if it's the last day or the last moment you see somebody. So I learned how important it is to really let those know that are important to you, that you love them, and that they're important to you, and that you value every moment that you spend with them. Because one of the harsh moments of this year for me was my sister passing away. And yeah, so that was a tough one, and that was certainly also a lesson in many aspects. And yeah, being able and learning to deal with something like that has been a tremendous lesson, and continues to be so. And also challenged me um, to see, to look beyond just the physical. It is something that I was doing before, but not on that level. So it challenged me to recognize that we are not only physical beings, but that we are much more than that, and that the essence of who we truly are is can be felt, and can be present even without the physical form that we are as well being there. And
So
yeah.
when you talk about trust, you're talking about trust in something higher, like a higher power or the universe,
Yeah,
life.
yeah, people give it different names, and some of them are tainted by dogma, or by different belief systems. But yeah, definitely, like um, trust that I'm guided, that there is something within me that knows the answer to everything, even before my mind or my brain chips in, so to say. And the ability of recognizing my intuition, of recognizing also my mind that chips in, that has its place, recognizing my emotions as well. But like, even going deeper, and looking for that guidance, for that voice within that we all have, that really tells us, is it the right way to go left or to go right? Is it like, that has all the answers already. So I believe that really and truly, we actually don't need to look for answers on the outside. But it's also good to look on the outside, because it's just a reflection of the inside. So we can find them everywhere we look. But really and truly, there would not be any need to do anything, because we can be everything that we can be already. And so it's something that is deep within us. And there's, how they say, like, many roads lead to Rome, or all roads lead to Rome.
Yeah,
So
when I went to my
whichever
coach
road we take.
training, went to my coaching training, we had this rule: be, do, have, and be always comes first before doing and before having. So if you want to accomplish something, you have to be the thing that needs to be for that thing to be accomplished before you can do the things that need to. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
being comes first, but often as humans we forget the being, and we're like very much into the doing, right? And that sometimes can lead us astray.
true. Yeah, and then we define ourselves, um, you know, over the doing and having, and we forget, as you said, we forget the being. And that's true too. Like even if we, the other day we talked about visualization, and we talked about, I believe it was even projecting, and then the feeling, the coming into a mood, into a state where you can, even if you don't have something right now, but you can feel, you can see yourself in that situation, and you can truly, with all the emotions, like feel as if you have it already. That really makes a shift, and that is. But maybe that's a topic for another one. But that's something that you can even change the past with that. So
This
that's
is the
something
year
truly
in
interesting.
review. Let's get back on topic.
Yes.
We have a
So
lot of content for future
Dennis,
anyway.
what happened with the school situation, Dennis? Did you find a place that you were satisfied with?
Yes, we were running up and down for months and months, and we went to literally every alternative school. It was in between the Steiner School, which is one of the oldest Waldorf or Steiner schools that we have here in the south of Germany. And then there was another school, a Montessori school, which was out in the countryside. And we ended up deciding for the Montessori school in the countryside, because like a few things that like I saw benefits, and I also saw some things that I didn't like so much in both school systems. But it was really the countryside that made the difference. And we had like a week of testing out the school in the countryside. That was really nice. And Emma connected, and I connected like very firmly, like with the teachers there. And it just clicked on many ways. And again, like I looked for the signals, and I saw like a few things falling into place. And the first time I went there, and they had like a teacher future parent reunion, and they talked about freedom and liberty. And I was like, oh yeah, that's like a big sign, because that's what I'm looking for in life on every level. So I was all right with it, and Emma really loved it as well. So yeah, she's at the Montessori school right now and
Great.
enjoying it so far. But she still says the best thing of the school is the breaks.
Yeah, all kids say that, which is probably right.
Yeah.
So,
That's great.
Michael, what about you? How was because you're this big journaling guru, right? So, how was your year in review?
Well, honestly, we've had two of the guys go, so I'm wondering if
Oh,
one of the
is
ladies should go.
these? Yeah, okay, fine. Yes, you may be a gentleman. Deirdre, you're up.
Can you hear? I moved my mic around. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I think
I had to move my.
it's a little bit quiet,
okay.
but
It's quiet on the back. Is that better?
whoa.
I just wanted to say that it's really funny that Dennis mentioned about motives coming before conscious thought. I was having to review my past 12 months. I've been going through all my notes. I collect notes. I have thoughts, and I write them down, and I keep them in a pile, and then I'll go through them to refresh them. And so I was doing that, and there was a study by Gary Walter in 1963. And his study suggested that motives happen before consciously realizing it. In the study, the individuals were hooked up to electrodes attached to their motor cortex, and were told to watch slides on a projector and change them whenever they wanted to. The participants said the slides changed before they pushed the button. And I just thought that was really interesting with what Dennis was saying. I just was wondering if you guys would like to know that. That was just kind of just popped up in this conversation.
Nice.
And that's addressing. Oops, I'm still muted.
Okay.
That's addressing the trust aspect. But what about the actual year in review? What are you grateful for the last year?
Okay. This past year, I had to write them as successes and failures. To me, it kind of because not everything I did was a complete success. It's kind of like, okay, I had a little bit of success, or I completely got it and it's all done. So I completed my degree. I'm very happy about that. That took me 11 years to do. It was very hard. I attended Autonomy, and I was studying as well. I did my best doing that. I probably could have attended more live lectures that I wanted to, but it was great. For me, the live lectures are on Saturday mornings, And so I'll be listening and I'll be folding, washing and cleaning and learning. It's great. So what else? Successes. I have friends all around the world. That's a success for me. That's like, oh, great. Cool.
As evident by this call.
Yes. Have fun. I'm an online participant in a podcast. That is something that never even kind of came to my mind. It was just during the autonomy, and it kind of came up that, oh, okay, I could do this thing. I don't really have much of an online presence except for probably a little bit on social media, and that's kind of, I don't know, I don't really participate that much in what I have to talk about. So having a podcast and just being there 3 days a week is exciting and scary at the same time. So from that, also from Autonomy, I nearly have my first ever website, nearly there, which is I'm excited about as well. Trying to figure out a name. That would be really helpful. I'm kind of stuck on it a little bit. My children have grown another year. That's sad, but kind of a cool thing at the same time. Like I can have deeper conversations, or they're doing their own projects. But I feel a little bit crushed in my heart because I just enjoy every little moment of them, and it's just, oh, don't get me wrong, the hard times are really hard, but it's getting less and less because we can talk more, where was I going with this? I guess that's what I've learned in Autonomy, the ability to just kind of just go with the flow, especially with the kids. Deciding to start up an online coaching business. This is a success. I was going to go into, I don't know, some type of mainstream direction that I was told to go down to. And I was actually feeling really down about that. I don't want to do that. I just felt like, I know I was more than that. I could contribute more than that, I mean. And so I learned that I can do an online business through Autonomy. That was kind of never an option suggested to me. So their successes, failures. I do have failures. My partner suddenly becoming disabled. I wouldn't say that's a failure. I'd say that it's like a dream failure. So when he became suddenly disabled, it was in a time when we were going to sign off on contracts for our first home, and his legs gave out on him, and he had to stop working, and so none of that happened, and then our income went away, and so it's not that that happening was a failure. It's just the things that were going to be successes this year just didn't happen. Doesn't mean they're not going to. It's just, yeah, rather than a failure. I didn't know how to have them differentiated better than just success and failures. But I thought I'd kind of say, no, his disability isn't a failure. It's just we couldn't achieve our goals. What else? Oh yeah, my family situation. Our family situation changing suddenly without reason or any immediate thing that I could possibly do. That was a hard lesson, to have something kind of just hit you, and there's no reasoning to it. There's no kind of logic to it. It just happened, and then just to go, and not only that, there's nothing I can do about it. That was really scary. And it still is. It's kind of just, I feel like, how do I feel? I feel like that my environment is kind of, like I'm treading on a swamp. So it's kind of like, it's solid, but it's still, I don't know, this could be like a deep hole right here, or, you know, or it could just be, there's a nice rock under it. That's kind of, the uneasiness is uncomfortable, but that's okay. I mean, it's not going to be forever. It's just, there's no kind of direction at the moment on where it's going to go and when it's going to stop. It will, that's the reality is, but it's still uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, not being reliable as much as I want to. I'm feeling torn and guilty for it. Oh, I feel like I failed on this one. I put a high reliability on myself. I like saying yes. I love doing stuff with people so much that I have to say no, and that upsets me. I don't like saying no. I like being there for people. I love that connectedness. And then I feel cut up and guilty because I haven't met their expectations and I've let them down. That's what else?
Didn't we say
Yeah,
in
I don't like
another
saying no.
episode? Didn't we say in another episode that mixed expectations are the source of all misery, or yeah, most misery?
Yeah, but I like to have expectations of myself. I like to be the best I could possibly be. That's just me. And it's just trying to find that balance of, yes, you're right, that I can't take those expectations too seriously. But hang on, I need to have some expectations because otherwise, I don't know, I'll worry that I'm just going to be lazy. Not participating enough in my local community. Oh, and I feel like I'm not a good enough carer for my partner.
Do you have 4
feel like
children and a disabled partner, and you're going to 2 schools at the same time and graduating and succeeding with them both, and you're still taking care of your children and you're still taking care of your partner, but you're questioning that you're not good enough?
Oh yeah.
You sound like a
I do, because
superhero.
I see how wonderful you guys have it all together. I just feel like I didn't prepare for this. I tried. I had it all sitting out. And
Do you see us all laughing right now? We have
Deirdre,
it.
it's like Facebook. We just tell you the good stuff.
No,
like-
we're pretty transparent. Come on.
If I'm, what type of friend? We're good friends. You're gonna tell me when I'm being a crappy person. Come on.
I would tell you
No,
you're
not
being
you.
a crappy person.
You're not being a crappy person.
But I've never seen you be a crappy person. I've just seen you try your hand at all these different things and consistently succeed. That's what I've seen of you.
Oh, great.
Well, consistently too, like trying things that are new and different and contributing to the community. Thank you.
Big time.
Yeah.
If I had any expectations, you would have succeeded them every time we interacted.
Thanks, guys. Okay, I just thought I'd be honest and kind of like I feel shaky just because I was so honest. But yeah, that's what's kind of going on inside. Like that's how I feel. That's my life. That's reality. And yeah, I feel insecure about that. So thanks for all the boost. I'll have to keep that recording and kind of go when I'm feeling down. Oh look, you know, these people.
Thank you so much for sharing, though. Like I could see myself in at quite a few points when you were talking. So that's really strong, you know, to be so open and to voice that, like to wanting to help others and you know, having those expectations. Like I can see myself there as well. And I had to think about the thing with the rope that we are holding on to, that came to my mind the other day. And I thought that, yeah, because it's like, you know, we have those expectations to ourselves. Like we think that other people hold expectations, but more of the times in my case, I realized it's actually just me, you know, like I expect that. I think I'm good and I'm supposed to do this and that, you know, to live up to my own expectations. But, you know, it's not easy, but it would be a simple action of just, you know, opening my hand and letting go of that rope and just, you know, go with the flow more. But I catch myself all the while, you know, of you know, talking negatively to myself and, you know, and having like, you know, like high expectations of myself that you know, might actually hinder me of you know, being at ease and flowing more with what is in that moment.
Yeah, thanks, Dennis. That's kind of where I'm hoping to get at for the coming 12 months is to just to um, feel less guilty, be more in the flow, like you're saying. That, yeah. I don't know. I hope I answered all the questions. Yeah.
So I guess it's Michael's turn, whether he likes it or not.
Well, you could go too, but I
Who?
guess I'll take this
Me?
opportunity to go. Yeah,
I have to
you
go
could
too?
Yes, please. What a gentleman.
Go, Michael. Go, Michael. I want to be a gentleman this time.
Well, I had a lot going on today, so I didn't really get that exercise up till probably 5 minutes before this, before getting onto the broadcast. So, number one, I want to say, it's really great to be a part of this with you guys because the more I learn about all of you, the more I appreciate all of you. And it's truly, I'm really, really impressed with the group of people I've got myself involved with. It's really, really an honor to be involved with you guys. So, number one, salute to you guys.
Thanks,
But,
Michael.
but number two, this has been a really interesting year for me. This is like my 5th year in Acapulco, and it always starts off with a bang because in February we have the annual in Acapulco, and we get a couple thousand, 3,000 people from around the world to show up, and they're all my kind of favorite kind of people. And so I, just it's like my favorite time of the year, and it's coming up pretty soon, so I'm looking forward to that again. But last year was one in which I got to really be the person that I love to be, which is the volunteer coordinator. And so I got to really interact with pretty much everybody involved in that operation, and got to meet all the VIPs and shake all the hands.
It's a conference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, the fact that I've been doing that for 5 years now, the group of people that I surround myself with and call my friends, I'm truly amazed by where I've been able to take myself. And although all that is some really positive things, there's been bad things that have happened too. And like, I don't know, what is it? It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. What is that?
That's what I
Shakespeare?
said about my birthday last month.
It never seems to fail. If you want to focus on the good stuff, it's there. And if you want to focus on the bad stuff, it's there too. And those kind of things happen this year too. I had a lot of struggles. My ethical emergence as a course, and been attempting to write it as a book is something that I've struggled with. But when it's all said and done, looking at the entire year, I've got to say it's been an experience for me that's been just magical. And, Tim said this is one of the greatest learning years of his life. I guess I can say pretty much the same thing. I've had this year and maybe a few others, and probably my sixth grade teacher was amazing. She taught me a whole bunch of things. There's just a few years like that I can recall where, man, I learned so much. And certainly, being associated with Autonomy the past few months has been just really a cap to that. The amazing level of learning I've had in these last few months has truly been something that kind of caps it off. So I'll keep it short with that. How's that?
It's all good. You don't have to keep it short. I was just keeping an eye on the streaming, if it's still working.
I'm listening intently.
Well, I think that's pretty much it. I'll just wrap it up. I'm looking forward to next year. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys go to Acapulco before?
No, I've heard of it, and I know some of the speakers who go down there, but I've never journeyed down there.
If you've
Yeah,
been to
same
the
here.
Red Pill, it's probably somewhat similar. A lot of the same kind of people are going to the Red Pill events.
I think
Is
there's
it like
more people on Acapulco.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's one in which we rent the entire hotel, so it's a couple thousand people, and everybody that you bump into is effectively an anarchist, a voluntarist. They're pretty much a very open-minded individual, and then we've kind of over the years gone to much more about health and introspection kind of involvement in all those kind of areas. And man, I swear every year I run into people that I had no idea, what's possible with the world, and it just kind of shatters me through into a new existence of understanding and and being that I get to be so involved in all that, it's just amazing to me. I had shoot, I don't want to get his name wrong, but he's he's kind of a health guru, and he ended up staying with us at the house for about a week and a half, and I got to do all of his tests and stuff like that. And surprisingly, I'm pretty healthy. I would think that I have some kind of vitamin deficiency or something like that, but I went through all that kind of stuff, and I got to do like electro stimulus stuff and all that kind of thing. But this is just something that I had never even really contemplated before. But getting that opportunity, and Clive DeCarl, actually, is the gentleman's name. He's English guy. That was another thing. This year, in past years, it's been the Swedes. We've had a lot of Swedes here in Acapulco at different times. This year it was English and Australians. I think like half of the people that visited the house this year were either English or Australian.
Does it
In
not
fact,
does it not just depend on where they advertise for it?
I don't know. It seems it's very odd. But
is it like a weekend or is it a week long?
It's like a 4-day main conference. This week or this year it's going to be 10 days. So it's growing, and I'm actually creating an event around it. So like the 2 weekends before and after, we're going to be doing stuff. So it is growing and becoming bigger, and a lot of the Mexicans are kind of already anarchists. They don't necessarily know it yet, but they are.
So the local community is involved.
Yeah.
Every year it gets more.
What are we? So this is something that you're grateful for, right? Like the conference and how your involvement is, and your passion around it and stuff.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
So what about you, Agnisha? What are you grateful for? How has your year been for you?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Don't you know?
What I did is I went and I tried to write down everything that I can remember about each month, like all the things that stick out. And it's maybe, few things per month, more or less. But I wrote down like, I discovered this and I saw this historical location, you know what I mean? I explored the Parliament buildings in Winnipeg and the art, like there's beautiful art inside and stuff. And so I wrote down everything, like all the things I didn't like. Like at the beginning of the year, we were supposed to move to Bermuda and with Eric's work. And at the very beginning of the year, we were staying with his parents. And then we discovered in February which we overstayed our welcome, and not that we overstayed our welcome, but living with family is challenging, and every day we were looking forward to that message. Okay, you get your tickets. Your tickets are here. Your tickets are here. They were telling us we passed all these tests and everything, and then February 22nd, I believe, we got the phone call that said, sorry, the Ministry of Immigration has intervened and the application is not going to be approved. But by then we've already sold all our stuff. We were supposed to move in December, so we sold all our stuff and stuff. So we found ourselves living with his parents, not having anywhere to go and not having any plans, and just having very few items that we actually owned. So at very first we rented an apartment in nearby, and we were racking our brains well, what do we do? Where do we go? How do we we're ready to go. We've already sold all our stuff. What are we going to do? And we ended up moving to BC. And that took a lot of trust too, because I really, really wanted to go to meet all of the Autonomy students in Hartford. And I really, really wanted to spend those times at the bonfire and stuff and see them in person. And I felt that if I were to move across the country, is directly across the country, across all of Canada, from pretty much the most east to the most west, that I wouldn't be able to afford it later, or maybe that unexpected expenses, and what are we going to do, and that whole thing. And I really, really wanted to go, but I felt like I had to trust my heart, because I felt that it was an opportunity. We were already packed, we already had no furniture, it was all set, right? We could go anywhere, and that spurred me to actually trust the universe and go, okay, I'll just go and see what happens. And it happened that I got a really big contract right after we left, actually while we were still on the road, and I was still able to go to Hartford and meet you guys and spend those evenings by the bonfire. And so that was amazing. And so then here, living with my parents, well, not with my parents, but next door to my parents, that's an interesting experience too, and helping them out. And now we're selling the house, so now there is a time limit to us living here, so there's that. But what I wrote about the gratitude, in January, I was grateful for alpaca socks. Alpaca socks are amazing. I'm very much a fan. I'm wearing some right now. And so definitely...
Show us.
No, too awkward. And
I've seen them.
I have a few different pairs. Eric was at one point, we every couple of weeks we would go to the alpaca farm and get ourselves a pair of socks each, just until we had enough of a collection to wear them all the time. We did have a perfect house. So after we left Eric's parents' house, we manifested the ideal house, exactly where we were. We had this mountain we were fascinated with, and there was all sorts of history associated with it, and we were oh, how cool would it be to stay there? And we ended up staying right on the mountain for the month that we stayed in Quebec, the last month in Quebec, and that was great. Absolutely lovely. And then the trip across the country was amazing, just going through the whole North America, cutting right across it and driving in all these different communities and visiting friends and relatives, and it was just really awesome. It took 2 weeks, I think, for us to move all the way across.
Great pictures. You give great pictures on the way.
Yeah, I really wanted to keep in touch with my Autonomy community, and I couldn't. There was no signal half the time, but at least whenever we stopped, I could send some pictures. And I would be sitting there in the car on the way going, okay, I have to take this. I have to take it for the guys in the Discord. I have to show them this. Look how empty the road is. I'll show them this. Most of the time throughout Canada, there was nothing.
Guys, I'm going to head out.
How what? Oh, you're going to go.
Okay.
See you.
Okay. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so traveling across there were a lot of challenges. Then in the summer, Eric was working away, so I was spending a lot of time by myself and also recovering, healing from being in Quebec, and it was very challenging for me to be there, so I really needed some time to recuperate. I love the travel. Yeah,
there was an egregor over there.
Just the energy, I don't know, it just didn't work out for me. I don't know, maybe I'm sounding totally woo right now. I'm cool with it, I suppose. And I got my dog. My dog's the best. She's sleeping now. I won't wake her up, but I'm sure you guys will see her in further episodes. But yes, she's the best dog ever. And so that was the greatest gift of the year, was my little dog. Love her to death. How can you love something so small that you've only known for a few months so much? And it's not even a human. It's just crazy. It's true though. For August, I had written learning patience and resilience. That was when Eric was still away and he broke his leg and he was stuck in Montreal for another month and had to go to the hospital. And I felt so out of control because I couldn't be there to take care of him, and I couldn't direct the care, and I couldn't say, okay, take this, rub this on your leg, it will make it hurt less or whatever. And they were feeding him all sorts of painkillers, and I was just like, oh, I have other ways of dealing with it, and combination could be nice. But I had to let go of that and just accept the fact that he's going to come home when he's well enough to travel, and then that'll be that, and then I can take care of him. And that's what happened. And that was a whole other challenge, because then I had to take care of a guy who couldn't walk at all and bring him all the cups of tea and stuff. And that was great. Everything was just such a good experience. I don't know. It's just such a, just learning, not being annoyed because he can't really do it, but still doing it, and still managing the taking care of the dog, and the taking care of my clients, and the taking care of my parents, and juggling all of that. And it was like a video game almost for a while there, especially when Eric was really when you have to manage all of these little things, and it's like this one goes and this one goes.
I like that you said, oh, it's like a video game. That's it is.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I'm gonna do this, I can get that, and then I gotta go back, and then I have to do this, and then I can I don't know, upgrade or something.
And often I would stop working and I'd be like, okay, and then the dog had to go outside, and the dog would come, we would come back with the dog, and then Eric needed a snack, and then I would get him a snack, and then another client would text me, and it was like,
which one first?
It was very sequential all day long. And so that was fun. So that was about October. And then in November, by November, all of our little side projects, where I was talking about a podcast with the girls, and then I was talking about courses with Tim, and then I was talking about something else with Dennis, and I realized that all of us had the same goals in mind, and we came together and we created this project, and this is where we're at now at the end of December, taking all of that knowledge from Autonomy and all of our conversations together and bringing it into one project so that we don't have to be all fractured everywhere. So it's awesome.
Yeah, it's the best idea ever.
Very nice.
Nice
I'm
one.
so proud of
Co-creation.
myself.
You should be.
Nice one.
You can juggle, for sure.
Yeah, I
And-
juggled.
And lead. We like that.
I'm learning.
Learning and leading.
That's right. Oh, and now today I found out that the Teachable, it won't work. So we have to create an actual website in addition to our Teachable. So now I'm going to be making our website too. Isn't that fun?
Oh my goodness.
It's all good. I already know what I want. So it'll be super easy to just, it'll be another video game. Everything is a video game. Have you guys ever noticed that when they do roadworks and they put all those pylons in, and it's all those orange signs, and you have to drive like this? That looks totally like one of those driving video games. No?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't really know much about video games.
A lot of people won't drive in that stuff that I know.
It's like, whoo, 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 whoo. Oh, there's no rock. Oh, there's a big
Yes.
hole.
I see the people playing the video games in their car. They have their phone in their hand, they have a Starbucks cup and their dog on their lap, and they're driving. It's a very big video game.
You know what? Everybody was making fun of me getting my dog a seatbelt because she's clipped in when she's in the car, and like when I'm by myself in the passenger seat. And the other day I was driving and I had to slam on the brakes, and the dog fell off the chair, but because of the seatbelt, she didn't like bump into anything. She just kind of rolled off and then climbed right back on. And she was always attached with her little like harness. So, yeah, seatbelts help even when there is no emergency.
But that to me, that shows how much you love little Luna, your little puppy. Yeah, she needs a seatbelt. Yeah.
Well, people put seatbelts on their kids. I mean, why wouldn't you put one on the dog? Don't you care about a dog as much? I do.
Yeah, that's right.
Some people don't, but I do.
I saw some kids on leashes at the airport last week.
And I remember, you know what? I'm pretty old, and I remember in the 70s, people were against putting seatbelts on their kids. They were like, "Well, my kid likes to climb all over the back seat. You can't put a seatbelt on him. That's ridiculous. Whoever heard of putting a seatbelt on a child? That's insane." I've heard this with my own ears. So.
Sometimes we let my daughter sleep in the back seat, on the seat on a long trip. We flaunt the law without the seatbelt.
Are those children leashes, are they to protect the children or to protect the other people from the children?
Probably to protect property.
Or that too.
It's like a harness with a monkey on the back.
Yeah, I've seen those. I don't know how I feel about that. I've never used one. I've always been able to, I don't know. I don't get it. I guess that's the best way I can put it. And that's just me.
No, it's kind of restrictive.
A little.
I mean, you got to be quick. If they run out in traffic, you got to snatch them up, but you don't want to jerk them back on the leash. That'd be pretty bad.
And then, how do they learn to gauge their environment of danger? If they expect somebody to always be there to keep them safe, that's not reasonable to have those type of expectations as an adult. So how are they going to gauge their environment if they're harnessed? I don't know. That's it. Just hello, Luna. Hello, Luna.
Funny.
Hello.
She was sleeping.
You look sleepy. Oh my gosh.
Half awake.
Well, this has been a great podcast.
It's been an hour. My goodness.
Yes, it's been an hour. I have to run. Thank you, everybody, for setting this up, and it was a great discussion.
It was a great talk.
Thank you too.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see you. Okay.
I really enjoyed it too.
We should probably just close
See you
out
again
the
soon.
podcast. See you guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. Good night, everybody.